Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome indeed. So today we're going to be making a video going over what is the best way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Online. So first off, let's go ahead and hop right into it with this amazing comparison chart comparing all of the different Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. There's lots of different Yu-Gi-Oh! Games to play online, some official, some non-official. We're going to be covering all of them, but big shouts to writer JJ for making this really awesome chart. I'll also explain some of the different things with these simulators, because this is going to determine what is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Game essentially for you, because everyone likes something a little bit different. Okay, so first off, all of these applications will be free, and if you guys want like some tutorials on like the basics of them, I'll also have a bunch of videos in the pinned comment. So starting right off, let's go and show gameplay of every single one of the different Yu-Gi-Oh! Games and kind of talk a little bit about them. So starting right off, the official one is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it on Steam, but to kind of show you guys like some of the gameplay and the ins and outs, it will play like a couple seconds here, but this is the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. Now, unfortunately, it is further behind on not only the ban list, but the sets of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. So even though this is the official game, it's way behind like what cards like come out and get announced. So it's like kind of behind, which is interesting because you think the official game would be ahead of all of the fan-made games, right? But this is what's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It's available via Steam. Now, on top of that, we have YGO Pro or Project Ignis, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. It was kind of like the game where I played a lot of Dev Pro also. Essentially, there are branches of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, but at the end of the day, it's Project Ignis YGO Pro as right now. Here are the graphics of this game. Now, this game is really awesome in the way where you can completely customize everything. Also want to mention, every single one of these games, with the exception of the official game, will require you to pay money or grind for gems to allocate purchases to actually get cards. The rest of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, Omega, Dueling Book, and Dueling Nexus, they give you access to all of the cards 100% for free. There's no pay to win. Although Master Duel, I wouldn't say it's pay to win, you have to actually acquire the cards, and you're going to have to grind for a lot of time if you don't want to be spending money. There's also a campaign in Master Duel. Some of the other games like YGO Pro, technically there are like campaigns, like kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Puzzles from the video game, so there is kind of a single player mode, but most of these are just for like online play, but there are technically ways where you can kind of do some practice things in them. But next up, let me go ahead and show you guys the next one I want to talk about, which is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega. So this one's definitely the prettiest looking one, as it kind of has these cards pop out in 3D. There's different things that you can customize, just like in most of the games. You can customize the game to a certain extent. You can like customize your sleeves and stuff, but some of them you may only affect your game, if that makes sense, because the files are stored locally. But Omega, what it does offer in terms of like the other ones, it has some of the best rulings because you do OCG/TCG. Some other games will either be manual, or they will make it so like you have to kind of decide like what ruling that you're using before you go in, or whatever the case may be. But this one you can actually do both. But what I really like with this one though is visually this game definitely looks like the most professional. It's the closest to like an official Yu-Gi-Oh! Game in terms of like the game's visual. Again, you can customize, they have like backgrounds and different things that you can customize as well. The next one that I want to talk about is actually Dueling Book. So here's what Dueling Book is. I use it for a lot of what I call low-rated duelists, because in this game, you have to manually do everything. Now, one thing that it does offer that the other simulators really don't offer is custom cards. So you can make, like this one over here, it's Ben 10. People make things from like anime. So if you like Dragon Ball Z, you can make your own Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and play with them. But they don't have the actual effects. You're basically typing out the effects, and your opponent has to read them, and everything is manual. So if you like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In real life, the game Dueling Book is similar to Dueling Network, which actually got shut down, but Dueling Book is basically the exact same thing, but you manually have to do everything. So be aware there will be people that cheat on this, and you will have to argue, and you will have to call judges, and it is super frustrating sometimes to deal with that. But sometimes people do like the manual playstyle. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Dueling Nexus. So what's nice with Dueling Nexus is you do not have to download it. That's another really nice thing with Dueling Network. You don't have to download it. You just go into, you know, any like library, your school computers, you can just like play online. Dueling Nexus and Dueling Book will allow you to do this. But it's basically like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, YGO Pro, where like the effects of the cards will be actually real. Like this is like some old gameplay footage. I'm sure you can customize the background to look better than just like this white background. Nonetheless, it's basically YGO Pro, but online, and on top of that, you don't have to download it. So that'd be kind of the upside. So now that we've shown you guys gameplay of every single one, and yes, there are some other fan-made Yu-Gi-Oh games, but this is basically going over the top 5. Now that you've seen the gameplay, let's go ahead and talk about what each one offers and why you'd maybe pick one over the other. So first off, the automatic, meaning that like the game plays itself, you don't have to argue with people. So all of them will be automatic with the exception of Dueling Book, as in you have to manually declare saying I'm activating this. You ask your opponent, hey, do you have a response to this card? You have to wait for them in the chat. Like I had to take a sip of water there. And sometimes people go AFK. If you want the most potential toxic players, Dueling Book is the place to go. If you want to make troll content, this is definitely the best place to go. It's just because the nature of the way that people are over there. And again, it's the only one that has custom cards. So some games will allow you to actually play in the manual and automatic mode. So manual meaning that you have to say, I summon this card. Can I use this effect? Do you have a response? The other games, your opponent will just have a pop-up menu on the screen, you know, activate a card effect, right? But Omega actually does offer both of those. So that'd be like kind of a plus or minus depending on what you want to do if you want to play on manual. So playable web browser, your options are really just Dueling Book and Dueling Nexus. So like if you happen to have like a really bad PC, Dueling Nexus and Dueling Book will probably be the best. But like there's very little computers that can't run all these applications. I mean, it's a card game. But next up, we have playable on like Windows 7, Android as the application. So we're just going to kind of go down the list and I'll explain the things that need to be explained. I don't feel like I need to explain like, hey, does it work on Windows 7? Like, yeah, obviously this stuff matters because it could be, you know, maybe you see, you know, up on the screen, like, you know, I really like the way this game looks, but like, you know, your computer doesn't support it. So just look at it on the side. So playable on Android, Dueling Book and Nexus are not available for the Android 6 Plus. As they're just like web browser games. And if you're looking to play on Linux, Omega actually covers like most of the like play styles. And then available on Mac OS 10, we basically just have YuGiOh Pro, and then playable on iOS 13, the high quality card. This is actually something you can actually do on some of the games by manually changing your files, but pretty much the only ones that will offer like really high quality pictures are going to be like right out of the box are Master Duel and Omega. That's actually a feature that a lot of people want. YuGiOh Pro, you have to manually do it. It's kind of a nightmare because every single time there's new cards, you have to make sure the numbers are correct. It's really, like, technically you can do it, but it's not easy. Like in my videos, most of the cards that are like older cards will have it, but the newer cards, we get these pictures from like Japan when they're like pre-releasing. So like some of these cards are like in black and white for a little bit until they get the updated artwork, and even then like it's in very low resolution. So some animations for individual monsters. So if you like those flashy animations, you're looking at Master Duel. That's more for casuals, but that's okay, you know. Not everyone is interested in that. And then the hologram, that's where I was talking about the 3D for YuGiOh Omega, where you can see the card in 3D. If you really like flashy animations, you could also turn that off in Omega as well. If you want like attack animations for different attributes, there's like very small things. I'm just gonna go over the things that I think are major points, but I will basically mention them. 3D interactable field with customizable pets. That's technically just a Master Duel. That's what they call the mates. They don't affect the gameplay at all, but all the games offer customizable backgrounds and sleeves, which is good. Customizable sounds and music. Only the official game really doesn't let you do that. Technically with Nexus and Dueling Book, you literally can just play music, like, you know, you're playing in a web browser, so it doesn't have music in it, so you just can play music, so that's fine, doesn't really matter. Customizable playmats, basically all of them will offer customizable playmats for the most part. Like, even though technically it doesn't say you can just go to your browser. You can do things for it if you really know what you're doing. It's not that big of a deal. Fast gameplay with no delay from animations. Yeah, Omega, YuGiOh Pro will all offer that. But fast initial load time, this doesn't really matter. I mean, how long does it take to load up? It's not that big a deal. But Master Duel specifically is probably the slowest out of all of them. That's the official game. Card rarities can be a thing for collectors. So if you want like a game that feels like you have an account that you're like making progression on, like, I understand some people really like this. So like in Master Duel, you can get like higher rarity versions of the same card. They do the exact same thing, it's just they look prettier. Omega does also offer that as well, I believe through like tournaments and wins. You can do that as well. As far as card frames that do style, while Omega also does do that, the rest of them don't really offer it. A solo mode with test hand. This is actually a really big thing. I'm so surprised that the official game doesn't do this. So what this is actually something very important, because I myself use a lot of these Yu-Gi-Oh applications. What the solo mode with test hands is actually what I was doing over here. See it at the top right here, I can test my hand. I can play against myself with no opponent. The reason why this is so big, if you're testing combos, you don't really want to waste someone else's time. If you're playing an Exodia deck, you want to slam there and draw cards, because what's going to happen realistically in most of the Yu-Gi-Oh games, they will just leave. So it's important to at least have one of these applications have this for you. Like if you just like one specific one, at least get another simulator. As a content creator, I have literally all of them, but like I specifically use certain ones for certain things, and so I really like it for testing hands. Solo mode with Laura, Omega, and the EDO Pro, Nexus, they don't offer. The only one that has like the solo mode with lore is it's Master Duel, but honestly, it's like a Microsoft PowerPoint. If you're really interested in lore, probably look up a YouTube content creator video, and they'll tell you the lore and the history of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and it'll be much more entertaining than the Microsoft slideshow that they have, which doesn't even have like voice acting. So important thing, another one, if you're a TCG or an OCG player, or if you want to do both, Omega specifically offers that, and technically Dueling Book does offer that because you manually play. Best of 3, this is a big deal for competitive players. The official game is the one that doesn't actually offer this, but all the rest of them will do that. So that's like something I would consider very important. Drag cards from the zones. It's basically because of mobile, there's accidental clicks and stuff, so most of them won't offer it except for the official game, which is kind of cool, but it doesn't really matter. I really like this. This is actually a very important feature also if you want to be a competitive player. It's a clear card log that displays all of the information, like all the steps, in a real clear fashion. Sometimes on EDO Pro, I've noticed that some of the text just goes away, and that can be very frustrating. Or in Dueling Network, sometimes certain card effects can get kind of mixed up, so it doesn't like say like this card did this. Basically, if you are an admin in the game, it does allow you to see everything, but for the like general public players, you can't see everything, and that can be frustrating. So Omega and the official game, Master Duel, will let you do that. And then all released and unannounced official and TCG card. The funny thing is the official game is the only one that does not have the announcement of all of the new cards that get announced immediately. They're like thrown in 1 to 2 days later on all these games, except for the official game. So that's where the official game kind of loses out on that. If you want the anime cards though, your only go-to, like if you're a fan of the anime, you like the Egyptian gods, the broken effects, you're looking at EDO Pro Project Ignis. Again, I will have all these linked down below. If you're looking for a ranking system with different TCG and OCG queues, basically all of them offer that except for the official game as well as in EDO Pro. The more that I look at this, I'm just like, wow, the official game, like it doesn't get any of these. If you want a profile that keeps track of your wins, losses, EDO Pro basically loses out on the rank system. There really isn't any like MMR rank in EDO Pro, which is actually kind of unfortunate. But like anyone can create an account and anyone can have any username with EDO Pro. So that's like one downside with it. You don't really log in, you don't really feel like you're earning progression, but it is one of the best places. Just go in fast and get some duels in because the game's really fast and a lot of people have it. And then on top of that, if you want a leaderboard, you also have access to on basically all of them except for the official game and EDO Pro, because EDO Pro doesn't really track anything other than like you just have your account that you can basically just name yourself whatever you want, and then you can actually check out statistics for certain cards, which is great with Omega. You also have a Dueling Network that tracks those. So that's kind of better for other websites. There's a website called YuGiOh Scope that I've used before, and it just tracks like your win-losses ratios of certain cards. So it's good to see kind of like which cards are seeing a lot more play in this new format. You can use other websites for it. It's not that big of a deal for that. And then support for Master Rule 0. Basically, all of them do it except for Nexus as well as in the official game. So if you want like to play like an old Yu-Gi-Oh rules or like old ban lists, like you got to go to the other ones. The official game just doesn't offer it. EDO Pro and Nexus are the two ones that don't offer cancel summon. So if you accidentally click on something, or if you're playing on mobile, it's more of a thing because like, you know, the screen's kind of tiny, you accidentally click on something. I don't really feel like this is a big deal, but I know for some people this is a big deal. So if you accidentally click on things, you can do more takebacks in some of the games. So that is something that can be a thing. All of them offer the cancel on like tributing like a monster. Like if you go like, okay, tribute, and then you want to cancel out of that. Basically, EDO Pro also does not let you cancel Fusion Ritual Monster after you activate that Ritual Summon. So this could be actually pretty big too. It's a minor thing. Just don't click on the card. I've never really had an issue, but I know for some people this is a deal breaker. So like that's why I'm mentioning all of these things. Cards revealed do not stay revealed on hover. That's basically just EDO Pro and Nexus on that one. Dynamic timer system. Okay, so as far as the timer system goes, I like that your opponent only has a certain amount of time. On the official Yu-Gi-Oh game Master Duel, like basically some people just take forever to do certain things. So, and that's really frustrating. I hate that. And sometimes when they want to be toxic, they will sit there in AFK just hoping that you'll leave the game for some reason. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Now in Dueling Book, it's even worse because there's an infinite timer. There's just like, sometimes people will troll and be like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna wait for you to quit, and they will leave. And sometimes like people will just be like, okay, dude, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just gonna leave the game. So it is really annoying. It's basically kind of ruined by toxicity. With Master Duel, sometimes you don't have enough time. Depending on what you're playing, sometimes you need all of the time. So it can be kind of frustrating. I think if you really care about time in Yu-Gi-Oh, I would really suggest Omega as well as EDO Pro Project Ignis, because like it gives you an additional timer every single time you're doing a move, so it's like more realistic that like it gives you time, right? As far as LAN support, like if you don't have the internet, well, I don't even know how you're watching this video, but sometimes, you know, the internet can be down. If you want to play with some of your friends, yeah, you can do it on Omega as well as Project Ignis, you know, EDO Pro. You can chat with your opponent. Only the official game doesn't, and I actually understand why they do this, is because the community is very toxic. And could you imagine voice chat? This is something I wanted as a content creator. Could you imagine if Master Duel had voice chat? This would be the best patch ever. Even though I know it would get toxic and I know it would get bad, there are certain interactions that would be awesome, and you can maybe even have positive outcomes, like friends that can be made. Be like, hey dude, I love your deck, dude, you want to play a couple more games? You know, maybe you can make friends. But because like the official game is so like weird with like chat interaction, it's again because of toxicity. I know why they do that. And in fact, a lot of Japanese games, even a lot of the games on Nintendo, still like have no voice chat. It's really weird, but it's just the way that they want to kind of do things. So as far as customization, basically just EDO Pro has no customization with like avatars. It doesn't really matter to me. However, you can customize your like sleeves and stuff. The only one that does have voice chat is actually Omega, so maybe we'll go to Omega for that. But it does like lock you into Discord, so like it's gonna have a little bit less trolls because you got to connect your Discord with it. That's actually an important thing that I will actually mention with Omega, because it's like it's integrated with your Discord, so like you can invite people. It's like actually a really nice system that they have built, and I think that's good. But anyways, to get custom duels, the official game doesn't even have custom duels. How lame is that for the official game? The official game doesn't let you have custom duels. Custom card support is just the official one, and Nexus do not have it. Custom ban list, the official one doesn't have it. So you're looking at EDO Pro and Omega. And then puzzle mode to create and solve puzzles. That's a really cool feature Omega and EDO Pro do. This is what I was talking about with like single player campaign stuff. If that's what you like, this is actually really fun. We actually did a couple of these on stream before, and I do think it's pretty interesting to see these really wild combos that people come up with in order to beat the AI. So if you want to go AI mode against various AI decks, you can do this in every one except for Dueling Nexus because it's all manual, right? If you want to do tag duels, 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, you can do that in all of them except for in Dueling Network as well as the official game. The official game should support tag duels. Like, come on, you literally have tag duels in the name of some of your games and you don't allow it. It's weird. You get relay duels. This is actually kind of a really weird thing. It's basically where you beat someone and you beat them again and again. It's like passing a baton. It's kind of cool. It might not see the most play, but you know, the more features that any application has, the better, right? And the whole idea is to find out what is the best game for you. Support for a Time Wizard can filter card pool by release date. Okay, so basically this is going back to like old formats, like very specific formats, if that makes any sense. Omega is the only one that actually offers that. That's kind of cool. So I'm guessing this is like maybe even like card pool, like maybe like Pegasus League as well, like really alternate formats. But technically you can play with no ban list in any of these and then just play in these weird formats. But like it's kind of nice when it's built in because there's always some troll that likes to put in a card that they're not supposed to, and maybe they don't even know. If you want speed duels, this is like basically like Duel Links. If you're interested in that, the Omega as well as Dueling Book do support that. And then this is for Duel Links stuff. This is Omega supports that as well. If you want the latest card pools, newest ban list, like sometimes some of these modes get neglected because people just don't play in them, so they just kind of shut them down or they just don't update it. Support for the Rush Duel. Oh, this is something interesting. You know, I actually did play a little bit of Rush Duel, and it's cool that you know, they are actually supporting that. If you guys are interested in doing drafts, you're really looking at Omega as well as YuGiOh Pro. And that can be kind of fun too, just to mix it up. Maybe you're stale, the format is a little stale, whatever you want. They have double deck, common, charity, other alternate formats. YuGiOh Pro and Omega are the ones for that. If you want Cube, Trinity, Enki, Omega actually has support for that. Support for Boss Duel and Command Duel, YuGiOh Pro and Omega for that. Support for Action Duel, Turbo Duel, Dimension Duel. These are like really weird stuff. So YuGiOh Pro and Omega have like basically the most, I would say. Like those are the ones that I pretty much primarily play. As some of you guys know from like the content here. Also, like I'm playing a lot of Master Duels because like it's the only official game here on the list. Searching for cards using wild cards, Boolean. This is some like sort of I think an alternate way to search for cards. Searching for cards by rarity. I mean, at the end of the day, you can find the cards that you want, but it's really nice to be able to type in certain cards. Filter cards by decks by real world price for budget. Okay, that's actually an interesting. I didn't actually know Omega had this. This is actually a really good feature because people do want to like build their deck that they play in a game in real life, and I guess you can sort it by like how much it costs. That's a really cool feature. I might make some videos going over just that feature alone. Unlimited numbers of decks and can organize it using a tag system. Okay, unlimited number of decks. So I guess Omega's the only one that you can have unlimited decks. I don't even know. I just know that in like, what is it, in Master Duel, can't you only have like 10 decks, which is weird. Like it's a YuGiOh card file, like at least 100 decks, right? But like most of them save locally, so I don't know what the limit is for it. I mean, in YuGiOh Pro, it's probably in like the hundreds. I think anything after 100 decks is almost irrelevant, but specifically on Master Duel, it really sucks that you can't have that many decks. Responds to community feedback directly. Looks like Omega as well as YuGiOh Pro are going to be offered. It says, these are all like the extra just side notes over here. But yeah, this was a really, really, really great post. So hopefully this video gives you guys some ideas on the different YuGiOh games and maybe which one that you want to actually play and download. So if you guys want to see more gameplay of them, again, check the video down below in the pinned comment. But I just thought that it was a really good idea for a video to go over all of the reasons why you would play one YuGiOh simulator over another. But if this video helped you guys out or you enjoyed the video just checking out and learning new stuff, because I actually learned some new stuff as well. But if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it if you're new and you want to see more new YuGiOh simulator videos on how to play YuGiOh online. We'll maybe do an update in the future when new YuGiOh games do come out. But take care and I'll catch you guys next one. I'm signing out. Peace.